The good cop, bad cop routine?
Not exactly.
His name is Bobby. I have not slept with the door guy. The door guy is a friend of mine, and he's
Here's something that might hurt. If your characters say exactly what they mean, your script is flat. Dialogue isn't just what people say, it's what they don't say, and it's what's boiling underneath. In screenwriting, we call this subtext, and it's what separates forgettable dialogue from the kind that punches you in the gut. So today, we're breaking down how to actually use subtext in your writing, using real scenes from movies that didn't just say something, they made you feel it. This isn't film theory fluff, this isn't textbook talk, this is battle-tested storytelling tools, and they hit hard. Let's go. So, if subtext is the meaning beneath the surface, it's also the emotion or intention behind what's being said. The Social Network opening scene. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to impress his girlfriend with intellectual banter, and she breaks up with him. Not because he's a nerd, but because he's insecure, arrogant, and emotionally unavailable. But she doesn't say that outright. Instead, she means, listen.
Okay, you are probably going to be a very successful computer person. You're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
That's not a breakup. That's an autopsy. The literal dialogue, a conversation about school, China, and rowing clubs. The subtext, you don't listen, you don't respect me, and you only care about winning. The power of the scene comes from what's not being said. That's subtext, and it hits harder than any direct insult ever could. In general, people don't say what they mean. And in real life, we don't say what we're feeling. We say it's fine when it's not. We ask about dinner when we're dying inside. And the best movies capture that exact contradiction. In Marriage Story, Charlie and Nicole go nuclear on each other in one of the raw scenes in modern film. But it doesn't start with yelling, it starts with hesitation. They talk about logistics, schedules, mediation. But the subtext is bleeding out. When Charlie says,
"Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay. I'd hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die."
It's brutal, but it's not just rage, it's grief. The line only works because of the subtext we've already felt. Years of resentment, love, loss. Subtext turns arguments into emotional earthquakes. If your characters always say the thing directly, you're not writing humans, you're writing plot devices. So, subtext actually equals conflict. And good subtext creates tension because it hides the conflict. In The Dark Knight, Batman and the Joker face off in the interrogation room. What they're saying is about ethics and people and chaos, but what's really happening? The Joker is trying to get Batman to break, to prove that deep down, even the symbol of justice can be corrupted.
You have nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all your strength.
He's on the surface taunting. Beneath that, he wants to prove that Batman's just like him. Subtext creates a game of emotional chicken, and every scene becomes layered. The audience knows more than what's being said, and that tension is addictive. Characters don't fight with swords, unless they actually do, but in The Dark Knight, they're fighting with philosophies. So, here are your tools to write subtext. You give characters opposing objectives. In No Country for Old Men, Anton Chigurh flips a coin for a man's life.
Hold it.
The man doesn't know he's in danger, but we do. Chigurh never says, "I might kill you," but the subtext screams it. The tension comes from what's at stake being hidden. Now, let behavior be the dialogue. You call me by your name. Elio's dad gives a monologue after Elio's heartbreak.
We rip out so much of ourselves to be cured of things faster that we go bankrupt by the age of 30.
He never says, "I know you loved him." He never says it's okay to feel, but he does say it all. But he says it through his compassion, his body language, and his silence. Subtext is action, and silence is doing the heavy lifting. Now, characters lie to themselves. In Mad Men, Don sells nostalgia like a weapon. He lets us travel the way a child travels, around and around and back home again. He's not just pitching a slide projector. He's trying to convince himself he hasn't destroyed his own family. That's subtext, not deception, denial. Bury the emotion in mundane conversation. In Manchester by the Sea, when Lee sees Randy, his ex-wife, they talk logistics. But they're both breaking inside. They're not discussing their grief, they're choking on it. Now use setting as emotional subtext. Bob and Charlotte lie in bed whispering in Lost in Translation.
I just don't know what I'm supposed to be.
The room, the city, the quiet, it all reinforces the isolation. The setting becomes the emotion. Subtext isn't just in the words, it's in the space between them. So let's be clear. Subtext isn't gibberish, and it's not deep-sounding lines with no emotional core. Bad subtext is just confusion in a trench coat. For example, the moon is a knife and we are its scars. So do you want to break up, or if your audience has no idea what's happening emotionally, you didn't actually write subtext, you just wrote nonsense. Subtext should be invisible, but it should be felt. If the actor plays it honestly, the audience should get the message without a single expedition dump. Now, why subtext hits harder than straight-out dialogue? The most powerful scenes in cinema often feel small, quiet, even awkward, because the real emotion is hiding behind the defenses, the way it does in real life. In Moonlight, Chiron shares a meal with Kevin. On the surface, it's dinner, but underneath, it's desire, pain, and identity. In Carol, a simple touch of the hand is more erotic than any monologue. And in The Master, silence between Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman becomes unbearable. These aren't plot scenes, they're subtext scenes. They land because they respect the audience's intelligence. So the final rule of subtext. The real trick is, write the scene as if they're saying it, and then rewrite it so they never do. Make your characters want something, then give them a reason not to say it out loud. Let the audience do the maths, it makes them feel smart, and it makes your scene more alive. Because real people lie. We perform and we bottle things up until they burst, and your characters should too. So don't write what they feel, write how they hide it. Let silence speak, let behavior confess, and let the words lie. And the truth screams through the cracks. That's how you use subtext, and once you learn it, you'll never write dialogue the same way again.
Are you watching closely?
If this hit, like and sub. Drop your favorite subtext scene in the comments, and remember, if your character says exactly what they mean, you're doing
Every
it wrong.
magic trick consists of 3 parts.